Bonjour Qatar. Salam alaikum France. Welcome to the weekly virtual Big B Meetup. Big B Meetup is a community initiative founded in 2018 in Qatar. It is dedicated to my mother, the late Aureliana Josephine, and inspired by the people of Qatar. It aims to educate, to inspire, to inform, and bring communities together. Today we celebrate Bastille Day with a wonderful French resident family here in Qatar, the modest Madame Maud, and the very active Pierre, who are my good friends actually, along with the head of PSG Qatar in India, Fabien Dilem. Thank you so much for participating in this today, and I'm proud to have three elite French people on board here. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome, yeah.
Thank you.
Merci. Maud, so to me, you represent the first family of France in Qatar, one part of it, Pierre being the other. Your bio reads marketing head, life coach, musician, and I don't know if you add that in your bio, full-time mom of 3. How do you manage? Can you elaborate?
Yeah, it requires strong time management, I suppose. But I always say you always do find time to do what you love and love what you do. So I have a tendency to always fill up my calendar and be always on the go, but yeah, it works.
Yeah, great. Well, can you elaborate a little bit more about your life coach? Because I know you as a marketing guru, and I also know a little bit about your musical prowess. And if I'm not mistaken, you've danced you've had a lovely ballroom dance with your ambassador, the wonderful His Excellency Frank Gillet, right? Please excuse my pronunciation because my French is not.
Indeed. His Excellency, the French ambassador, has elegantly invited me to open the ball at the last year's National Day, and he's a fine dancer, and he got me to learn the Brazilian balls in like 2 days or something like this. Wow. But to answer your questions, my life purpose is to federate a happiness network and create positive impacts in people, businesses, states, and nature. And I'd like to think that this is what drives all of my facets and fuel the way I work, the way I live, the way I interact. So it goes through the leadership style and my passion towards this full potential in mentoring and coaching. Even my hobby are a reflection of this mantra. I would say music and sport and traveling, everything that provides dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin, and everything that makes you live fully the present moment. Yeah. So yeah, that's
absolutely. I can see that. You complement each other actually. I remember you telling me stories like, Pierre, all his friends are flying around here and there. I want to go with them here. I want to go with them there. And, hey, hang on. You can't do that. But off late I've seen you. Absolutely, yeah. It's not just Pierre active; it's the Danielle's active. He should change his Instagram name. Yeah.
You know what? In all fairness, I couldn't be so active if I didn't have the support of my wife.
Very well said. Very well said. True. It's the same thing with me. My wife gives me a lot of freedom too. That's why I can do Big B meetups and my photography and things like that. Coming back to you, Maud, because I've never given you enough of time. I've had Pierre on my Big B meetup in my second Big B meetup last year on wellness and on sports, and he spoke a lot about the wonderful act that he's done. I think it's a Guinness Book of World Record, Pierre, isn't it?
It was the setup of the world record of the fastest crossing of the run across Qatar on foot from the north to the south. But it's also the fastest recording time of the circumnavigation of the country on foot.
Okay. Coming, I will come there. I have a lot to talk to you about because I want to know more about what you've done with another amazing Qatari gentleman. Because it's not just where you run and walk, you also cycle. So I have a couple of questions for your cycling because I believe the Tour of Qatar is represented because it came into being because of Tour de France. If I'm not mistaken, there's a story that the father Emir was holidaying in France in the summer, and he saw, his car, his motorcade was stopped, and he was wondering what's happening here, and it was the Tour de France, and that's when he said, "Hey, let's get this to Doha. We need something like that to be active." That's I hope I'm not wrong, but I've heard this story, and it's amazing. So, a sporting inspiration from France to Qatar, straight off the Tour de Qatar, is an offshoot of Tour de France. So, Maud, I'd like to know more about you, about the kids and how you manage them and you manage Pierre, but I would love to go directly to the PSG head because he's looking at me and saying, "Hey, you know," so because
No, I'm fine.
I've never spoken to to Fabien before, and I'm a fan of PSG, although I was a fan of Marseille in Jean-Pierre Papin's time in
Don't start in that way. Don't start in that way.
Yeah, bro, they can-
yeah, I'm I know, yeah. So, Fabian, let my viewers know more about PSG Qatar and a bit of PSG. I mean, everybody knows PSG, but PSG Qatar and the academy. Wow, even I would like to know more about it.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be with you tonight. I've been working for PSG for almost 12 years now. So I was based in Paris from 2008 to 2017, and then in 2017 I moved to Doha to open the first Paris Saint-Germain international offices. So I'm in charge of the marketing and business development for the club in the Middle East and India. So to answer your question, basically the academy is one of our axis of development. The idea behind the academy is not only to train like future professional athletes. It's more about like sharing an experience, sharing our value as a club, sharing the brand identity, and give the opportunity to all the football fans and all the PSG fans in Doha to, in a way, get connected with their favorite club.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I believe it is the 50th anniversary of PSG. That's amazing. What are the future plans of PSG
Yes,
in Qatar and also in
yes.
India? And if you could give us a little more information
2020
about,
was. Sorry, please go ahead.
yeah, if you could give us a little more information how PSG is going to celebrate this in this year. I know it's a very challenging year, but we are up to challenges, aren't we? So I'd like to know how we are going to celebrate the 50th year of PSG.
So basically, yes, 2020 is an important year for the club because that's the 50th anniversary of the club, and it was a good opportunity as well to celebrate this event with the France and Qatar Year of Culture. So we had some plan to do like a joint event with Qatar Museum, for example. We had like, to be honest, it's a bit sad that COVID happened because we had a huge plan to celebrate the anniversary of the club, and not only based on sports event or sports, on our sports calendar. It was about the art, culture, fashion. I mean, that's one of the key points and one of the key difference between PSG and all the other clubs. Since the beginning, we've been trying to position the club as a brand and not only as a football club. And we've been doing that by capitalizing on the Paris value and trying to represent Paris through the club. So that's why, if people knowing the club, they can see how involved we've been in art, in culture, in music, in movie as well. We've done many things, and this is a part of the DNA of the club, basically. So we plan many things. Unfortunately, most of the celebrations have been cancelled due to the situation. But now we are trying, to, let's say, reshape the plan and find some other alternatives to celebrate this anniversary with our fans.
Excellent. Having said that, Fabian, prior to the quarantine, I've been having community events, and this funny enough, this year I was planning a year of culture, Big B meetup in the physical sense in Paris, and my partner in crime in this project is the wonderful modest Mod. Yeah, and another gentleman called Theory Lascelles, Dr. Theory, yeah, not Henri Theory, and another gentleman in Qatar, Ahmed Al Shahrani. Yeah, so we were planning an event involving artists, involving special needs, involving sportsmen, involving this lovely life coach, and a few other aspects. And oh yeah, and the most important actually involving istidama, sustainability. Now these are the four. These interestingly, these are the four pillars of Big B meetup. So I would like. I'm planning. I'm still planning. I never give up. So I'm still planning an event, inshallah, December or January, and we were initially looking at having the venue at PSG, isn't it, Mod? We were discussing that.
Yes,
So yeah, yeah. So yeah. Can you say something? Because you just,
yes,
So
yeah.
We will let Fabien answer that.
Why do you put me in trouble?
yeah. Well, he's smiling. So
No.
well,
To be honest,
I'm
it would have been a good opportunity for us as well. As I told you, we don't want to position the club as a basic football club. At the end of the day, Paris Saint-Germain is a brand, and as a brand, we should be involved in different in different things, and not only on football or sports performance. And this is part of this is our commitment since the beginning. I mean, the club was purchased by Qatar in 2011, and the ambition was clear from the beginning. Let's position this football club as one of the, let's say, biggest sports franchise in the world, but as well as a big brand. So we don't want to connect PSG only to football or sports. We want to connect PSG to many other things and many other industries. And this kind of initiative that are more than welcome.
very true, very true. Like for example, the PSG already have a French a ladies team, but for example, Real Madrid have just started a ladies team. I think this season they don't. They didn't
Yeah,
have a ladies.
we invest a lot in our ladies team. We have a handball team, we have a judo team as well, judo section. So basically, we are a multi-sports club, and yeah, it's part. I mean, we want to be. We're trying to be everywhere in a way.
Absolutely. Can you share a little information of what? I mean, I'm very interested. I'm sure our guests, our viewers are also interested. Can you share a little information about what you have plans in India? Because I'd love to be part of that project, personally and professionally.
To be honest, India is a tough market. We've been trying to do things. We're going to be honest step by step because once again it's a tough market. They are more focused on the Premier League. I mean the British Football League because of the history, obviously. So we're like like a new player for the Indian market.
Okay.
So first of all, we're trying to connect with the local community, and once again, not only based on football. Like 18 months ago, we had like a fashion collaboration with one Indian designer called Manish Arora. So
Yes.
Manish Arora designed a special collection for Paris Saint-Germain. So we had many um, uh, let's say fashion pieces. It was just an amazing collection based on the Indian culture, on the Manish vision, and on the PSG branding. So we had a show in Paris during the fashion week, and it was really successful. And it allowed us to let's say to put like the first foot in India. And we're gonna try to organize more, let's say, community events as well, based on football, basically. So like football training session, and just to
Okay.
share our technical know-how and to
Okay.
let's say to teach our way of playing in India. and it's going to be in that way. The problem in India is the country is very big, so we cannot come and from one day, cover the entire market. We have to go step by step to let's say put some objectives, some targets, and build up around that.
Very true. Well, I would like to tell you directly here, I would like to invite one of your marquee players to Bombay, to the slums of Bombay, where the famous movie Slumdog Millionaire was filmed, and I mean it's done before, like the ambassador of the Qatar 2022, Javi's been there, but that is one of the best places to take a marquee player and showcase your football history and your football community. Yeah, so that's something I'm talking live on my program. I'd like to invite Fabien. You can be my guests. Stay at my place. I'll show you around. It's not far away. We play some football there, and then we can go back, and then we can bring in Thiago, or I don't know, Neymar. He might say maybe not, but let's see how that goes.
It will be a pleasure to be in India, and we're going to have activities as well with Generation Amazing, the CSR arm of Qatar 2022. We're working closely together. They have huge operation and commitment in India, and basically we're going to try to deliver like joint CSR programs, Generation Amazing and Paris Saint-Germain, to support local community and once again give them a special experience. So definitely we're going to go step by step. India is a big I would say a big target for the clubs for the coming months.
It is because FIFA has earmarked India as one of the countries that has a lot of potential for sport, especially football. China too, but India is a sleeping giant for football, because there are of course the population for one, and there are at grassroots level there is so much of potential in India for football, because we don't have the scientific knowledge of sports science. That's what we lack. But at a young age, the talent, I would say, is as equal to Europe and South America. But because of sports science, we lag in the under 21s or the under 18s. But under 12, we're picking up. We're doing well. We just need some more support at grassroots level, and maybe we'll produce a Mbappe. I'm sure.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
1 billion people, you should.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. So let me move back to Maud, because I'm still stuck on how she's managing the 3 kids and Pierre.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Well, I want to know.
I would like to develop on a few things that you already said. That there are 5, I suppose, facets that we could develop. So of our life in Qatar, for example. So professionally, so first of all, we've been in Qatar for 11 years plus, and there are so much that we have been able to achieve and accomplished. I think the first thing that comes to mind is professionally. So talking for me, I've been able to have the chance to work with global, local businesses and government, and to be part of once in a lifetime working experience, working with the best leaders, launching successful transformational projects, such as the telecom startup called Vodafone, which is extremely successful today. Led full-fledged rebranding for Qatar Post and Jada Group, launched e-commerce platforms, launched thousands of campaigns, hundreds of events, some firsts as well. First in Qatar, home delivery, first postpaid, first 4G, I mean, a lot of firsts. The second facet that I would like to talk about is, so this period of my life, this phase has been a phase where I have invested in my personal development. So I'm a certified life coach and professional coach, NLP master practitioner, hypnotherapist, and Reiki healer. And I've pretty much opened the Pandora box of wonderful and meaningful skills that helps me on a daily basis. So at home, at work. And I recently launched my coaching brand called Amazing Me.
Oh,
and
wow.
yes,
Can you,
yeah, that's been great.
Maud, I didn't know this. I didn't do my homework, that means. Or you
Yeah,
didn't you didn't tell me about it. Can you explain more about that?
It's just
it's so
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Can you
yeah.
please give me more information about that?
Yeah.
Do you have a
Well,
website?
this is of well, at the moment it's an embryo phase, of course, but I'm launching some mindfulness challenges. I'm coaching, individuals as well as groups. I would like to launch this. So yeah, we are setting it up basically at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there, there's another surprising gentleman here. I mean, not surprising. He's a very enterprising gentleman, a very good friend of mine, Khalid Al Jaber. He's the first. He's planning a ride around France for 50 days for the Year of Culture, and I'm definitely collaborating with him for that because we already spoke about something on the same agenda. He's the first Arab to clear to ride the Silk Route. He's also taken a bike 2 years back or a year and a half, taken it to Anchorage, and he's driven down straight to the end of Argentina in 6 or 7 months. That's the cool Khalid Al Jaber there, guys. He's a humility personified, very humble guy. You should meet him, Fabien, at some point. And I think the Daniels know him well. Who doesn't know the Daniels, right? Who doesn't know the Daniels? Yeah. And Maud, as you were saying, pardon?
We've been following him as well. I was following his adventures.
Yes, they were amazing. Yeah, and as Maud was saying, the first, exactly. That's why I've christened you all the first family of the French family of Qatar, because 11 years. Could you give what kind of advice could you give the French people living here, or even the Qatari people, or everybody actually? 11 years for a French family of five. Give us can you put all those 11 years in 4 minutes and give me a few lines? Both of you all can do that, not just Maud.
You want to do it?
The ups, not the downs, but just the ups, or maybe the downs too.
I'll tell you what happened. Actually, first when we joined Qatar, we were not totally a family. We were a couple, and we were a couple with a thirst of adventure, a love for meeting people, interacting with different cultures. So I think we had an open mind for pretty much anything and everything, and that's the spirit that we came with. That's the reason why as well that we decided to come to Qatar in the first place. At the time I was working at Al Jazeera. We'd been living in London for 4 years, and I had very, very negative comments about Qatar. It was London, and then most people that were coming here, you know how people, they're like, oh yeah, don't go there. It's a field of rocks. They drive crazy. The stereotypically crap that you can hear. That especially 12 years ago. So the first time I came here was 2007. And the reason why I came here, because I wanted to see for myself. So I had the opportunity to come to help Al Jazeera Doha here to do the Super Tuesday for the US elections. And I've come for 2 weeks, and we were still based in London. And I said to Maud, for me, it was love at first sight. I mean, basically everything.
You're talking about Maud?
Sorry, yeah, I was alone. I was going for work, so everything that people were criticizing actually was amazing to me. They were saying there's construction everywhere, and I was saying, wow, it's amazing, it's booming. They have big projects. They have a vision. It's very positive. Coming from the old Europe, where we're a bit more careful with the spendings, and the times of the big projects is over in Europe. So it was really that emerging market, and you could see that the royal family really had a vision for the country. So that was amazing. And they were saying road traffic. I was like, yes, but there's freedom as well. That's very optimistic too. There's that nice gray area where you can be, if you're respectful, very comfortable with that too. And I met the first Qataris. and they were actually divine people, very welcoming, very, very open. And I could immediately see that part of their culture, and that's also part of the Islamic culture as well. There was to welcome others, the hospitality is part of the culture here, definitely. And that's why as well, they're building all those projects, and they're trying to have the greatest sports events and else, because it's part of their culture to try to welcome people and show them a great time. So this is what we saw. And then I came back, and I think I called Maud on the day, and I told her, you know what, there's something going on here. So I think we should try very hard to move to Qatar. And this is what happened. So we already had that mindset, we just wanted to understand Qatar, understand the Qataris, and without preconceived ideas, and actually our first friend here was a Qatari, Abdurrahman Al Khaldi, and he made us discover Qatar. He's a 12 years old friend now.
Pierre, you're the right guy. I mean, you all are, but you're the perfect guy to actually have on the show for the Bastille Day, because you have actually mixed with the local community so well. I mean, with Mo, with Abu Hashim, with Khalid Al-Jaber, you've actually gone into their skin, into their culture. Not just had gahawa or breaking a fast with them, but you've also gone riding with them. That builds camaraderie, builds a friendship, so many things. Can you speak? I mean, I remember. Yeah, can you give me a little bit about, because I remember this is last year, but with Abu Hashim, you have been cycling all across Doha and visited the schools. That's a lovely venture. Can you give me
First, I'd like to say that I feel very privileged that all those friendships happened by accident. They happened very organically and very naturally. So they just happened because I met people, and they happened to be Qataris, and then we had a lot in common. And I think this is also a bridge between the French and the Qatari culture, that there is a lot of common factors, and there's a lot of things we share. And I think this is great, because it was not forced, and it really happened organically and almost by accident.
Can you delve a little more about the kids? Because I want to know. I want the viewers to know about that, because that is the essence of Qatar and France. A French rider, a Qatari rider, cycling across Qatar and initiating something with the kids. That is part of my DNA also, involving children.
So a year after the run around Qatar, I decided to cycle around Qatar. And then because we like to do things with a purpose and to help people, actually I was cycling with Bahashem, and we had the idea to cycle for a cause and eventually to go and meet people around Qatar, which I couldn't do as much. And I met a lot of people by accident when I ran around the country, but also physically it was so difficult that I was maybe not my best self all the time. At least I was very tired. But cycling is a bit easier, so it allows you to be fresh when you reach locations. So the idea was the following. So we had a full loop around the country. I think we did 520 or 515 kilometers around the country. And we wanted to deliver, and because cycling is on road, at least for us, we were road cycling, we wanted to deliver a message of road safety. And then the obvious target audience was the children, because they are the drivers of tomorrow, and they're also users of the roads. Either they're on their bikes or they have to cross the road. So we put together a presentation, in English and Arabic, and then we partnered with the Ministry of Education at the time, and then a few local schools here as well. So we started a few presentations before we started in Doha. We visited Lycée Voltaire, we visited a few Qatari schools here. And then all around the country, we stopped by schools. And I can tell you that people in Al-Khor, Dukhan, Zikrit really appreciated that, for once, this kind of initiative were coming to them. Because, pretty much, a lot of things are happening in Doha. So the fact that we took the initiative to go and talk to these people and somehow acknowledge that they exist. I mean, everyone knows they exist. You know, they have family in Doha as well. But just the fact that we went there meant a great deal for them, and we had the warmest welcoming, and especially in the Qatari schools. And some of them were notified only the day before that we were coming, you know, because it was depending on how fast we would cycle. And they had prepared amazing things, you know. They prepared a lot of things based on the Franco-Qatari friendship, you know, and they had the French and the Qatari flags. They've done a lot of handcraft. They sung national anthems. It was very, very emotional. They told us poetry. It was really, really emotional.
Pierre, what if I tell you, would you do that again in November? If I say let's do this. I mean, you'll have to take me piggyback.
No
I won't be cycling. But what if we make it?
I'll carry you on my back. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll put you in my handlebar.
Or I will train towards that. You know, because I remember you. You giving me a lot of advice, and one particular thing is, if mentally you're prepared to cycle or you're prepared to do something, you're already won half the battle. You know, because I told you I want to walk halfway to Qatar. I mean, you know, I'm not as fit as you. So you said if you think you can do it, you will do it. But of course, you got to practice too. So what if I tell you in November or December, we do the same thing again? Since it's a year of cycle, of culture, Qatar, France, and we'll pull in Fabien too. I mean, I'm sure he's fit enough to cycle from Qatar, from Doha to Dukhan.
I'm not sure, but I will train.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah. So that's something. That's something I want to look for.
It's guaranteed that you will succeed if you have the right training. So I will help you with that. There's no problem there.
Right. Excellent. Coming back to Fabien, there are a couple of questions here from Indian fans. As I said, you'll get a lot of. So, are there any hidden gems coming through the PSG Academy in India? I don't. Is that The question is, do you have? I think his question is like, if the academy is already running in India, and if there are any sports, you know, young talent coming out of the academy in India. I don't know.
Once again, the academy project is not built around, you know, the project is not about like training future professional athletes. It's more about sharing experience, giving them the basic of football, and help them to become, at the end of the day, to become a better man. Because to be honest, to become professional player, there is a long way to go, and maybe let's say 1% or even less will become a professional football player. So the most important is to focus on the other side, which is education, and to help them to become a good person. So the project of PSG Academy is more focused on this. And then, I mean, I'm not gonna elaborate on this, but there is many reasons why today we're not allowed to, you know, to go to a country and take like a 50-year-old boys and take him to France. Like there is a lot of regulation for this kind of things. So even if we were let's say finding let's say a very good player in India, we're not allowed due to regulation to take this player to Paris. So it's definitely not the main objective, but still we have a certain know-how, we have a certain experience, so definitely we can help people to become a better player. But it's let's say a dual project where there is education and sport, and education should be even more important.
Absolutely, very well said. I like that answer. Fantastic, Fabien. That's part of the DNA, I believe, of the PSG. Richard Chettiar here has a very interesting question, and I can elaborate because I understand what he's saying. Would be great to see PSG's presence in India in the ISL. Now, ISL is the La Liga of the league of the professional league, football league in India. You know, like how Atletico have bought into a team in the ISL. Would PSG do that at some point? Is it in part of their strategy to buy, or it's too early to ask you, or you already know the answer, or you're doing that?
No. At the moment, to be honest, at the moment, it's not part of the strategy to invest and to buy a club in India. It could be an option, but we we don't want just to follow the trend and do the same at the other. And first, I mean, we need to learn more from the market and make sure that putting that money in a local football club will really help the brand. Because at the end of the day, the club that you just mentioned, there was like an investment from a European club in that club, but I'm not sure that the European club was like recognized as European club. Basically, it helped the local club to become bigger, which is good. But from a brand perspective, I'm not sure that helped the European club investing in the local club. So that's why we are now, as I told you, India is a very, very specific market, and we want to go step by step. We don't want to rush and just do like the other, just follow the trend, and then realize that it was not the good strategy. And that's the worst case scenario. Considering India as a main and key market for the future for PSG, we need to make sure that when we're going to implement something, it will be successful. Because if you first fail, then it becomes very, very difficult to come back. So that's why we're going step by step.
Okay, great. Now I have my other partner in crime, Thierry Sales here. He's saying it's a great experience and initiatives in Qatar. He is addressing the Daniels here, and of course the PSG Academy, which I would like to know more about. So, thank you, Thierry. That's great. I'm just putting up some more answers, some more things from people they'd like to say. This is a very nice example for if you are an open-minded person, you will find easily connections in Qatar. Yeah, this is from Dr. Farhan Sakal. He is an archaeologist with the Qatar Museums and a good friend. He's Turkish German, so he'll understand. And he's amazing, yeah. See, I told you there'll be a lot of questions from Indians coming across. We need more presence of PSG Academy in Mumbai. Yeah, hang on, Kajetan. We will do that for you soon. I'm coming to your rescue at some point. Yeah, excellent. So, I would like to know more from the Daniels on the walk around Qatar. You know, I remember you. This is going with the nature. So you walked around Qatar in 7 days, and I believe you come across so many animals. You got a snake at one point. I remember seeing the picture. What else did you experience in those 7 days in 5 minutes, please?
Actually, technically I called it a run around Qatar, but yes, I walked sometime when I was too tired. I cannot lie. No, it's and then
At the end of the ride.
Thierry knows the. Sorry. No, I was running.
You know,
I
when
was
you
running
were
as much.
when you came to the end of your ride, a day before you ended, I met you.
Yeah, we met. So for people to understand, Bosco and I, we met in the petrol station in where was it, Wakra,
Wakra, yeah.
And I hadn't slept in maybe 20 hours, and
Yeah.
and I was. It was the end of the trip, it was day 7.
But you still smell better than me, you know that.
And yes, and it's funny because so for people to know as well, people have asked me to write a book about the adventure because there's a lot has happened. So there is a book that's going to be released soon, and I make mention of that. So people will understand in what conditions we met. Briefly before we met, I was in a terrible state. So this is the first contact we had. But yes, to get back to your question, and Thierry Lesalle, that is listening to us, know that even better than I. Qatar has a lot of wonders. Qatar has a lot of natural wonders that we all have to try to protect and to understand. The desertic environment doesn't mean death. It's not inert. Like there's a lot of activities. There's a lot of things going on there. Whether it's plants or animals, it's a full ecosystem. It's actually a very complex ecosystem. But it's an ecosystem that you need to really make an effort to understand. Because at first, if you're just passing by driving from one city to another on a highway, you think it's just a pile of rocks. But if you take the time to scout and then maybe walk instead of driving, you will first notice smaller things. Like nature here is not emphatic. It's actually quite humble, but it's here. It's very present. So if you take the time to slow down, you will see a lot of things: animals, night birds, obviously a lot of insects, and also spiders and also snakes. So I had seen the sea snakes a lot when I was spearfishing here. But it was the first time I would actually see a nice terrestrial snake, and they're beautiful. They nearly got bitten because obviously I wanted to get a full piece of the action, so I actually caressed the snake and it tried to bite me. So I got the warning, but it's okay. I knew it was coming at you. So I was doing what was necessary not to get bitten. But yeah, a lot of animals, and I think it's all our role here, not only the Qatari nationals, but also every resident. It's our responsibility to make sure that we preserve this nature, and we try to understand. There is Qatar National Museums, there is the Qatar National History Group that Thierry is a part of, and so there is a lot of outlets now and places where you can understand more.
You were a guest for them last year or a year before last at one of their talks for the Qatar Natural History.
Qatar National History Group. Yeah, they were very interested by what I did, and they're organizing a lot of trips in the desert or in different locations to showcase the Qatar natural beauty and explain about ecosystems, even archaeology, and the life of the people that actually were here thousands of years ago as well, petroglyphs and else.
Absolutely, and I would love to do more stuff with them, because I've been talking to Thierry and to Farhan, because Qatar has a lot of, as you said, hidden gems. Not really hidden anymore. People are seeing them now. There are UNESCO heritage sites. There are so many other things to see in Qatar. It's a small country. In Zubara, in Jassasiya. So some of those can actually, I'm giving some free ideas here to PSG. Some of those can be made into fashion T-shirts, with the PSG logo and Qatar, the different emblems of Qatar on them. I'm going to take some rights off that when I meet him in person. Yeah.
But Qatar National History Group, if I'm not mistaken, is 50 years old.
Yes, exactly. I think it started by some Norwegians.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I know. I was just going to say that it started really long ago, and I believe a Norwegian group of people started it, because there was a company called Norsk Hydro that came to Doha to do to do work with Capco 60 years ago, with Qatar Petrochemical Company, and that's when the Norwegians came in. And Norwegians they like to explore as well. So that's when they saw that they found out so many of these archaeological sites of Qatar. And there's a very popular book, very famous book. I think it's with the Qatar Museums, and it's on show. Talking of books, you're an author as well, Pierre. What is the name of the book, and when is it out, or is it already out?
So I was somehow pushed in that direction by people that attended my keynotes about the run around Qatar. And the intent of the run around Qatar was to do two things. It was to demonstrate the human potential, like how much we can do and how much we can push yourself, both mentally and physically, and without damage, because one of the interests of the run around Qatar as well was to preserve my family life and my kids and involve them in the trip, and also not to get physically damaged or mentally damaged by it, but to actually raise and extend my potential. And that worked wonderfully. And so I explained all that in the book, and then people that attended those keynotes, they were telling me that clearly I was rushing because there was so many things to explain, and they told me, why don't you write a book? And I just did, and that came out quite well. And the book is in two parts. The first part is actually the tale of the experience of running around the country, the people I met, the animals I've encountered, and then also showcasing Qatar natural beauty, which was another intent of the run. So there's a lot of nice pictures. Of course, it's far from being exhaustive. It's just a short list of what I encountered. But I think it could be an opportunity for people to start with this and then maybe do their own research. There is now, again, many media to do that. And the second part is about human development. So all the techniques that I've personally been using as well, to not only do the run around Qatar, but for people to. So there's a lot of naturopathy. You have Indian origins, so I'm sure you know too well about naturopathy. It's everything from mindfulness, breathing techniques, meditation, stretching, the food.
Survival skills.
Yeah, and there is survival skills and all of that. So there is a second part, which is sort of a rendering of everything I could offer to people for them to, sort of start their own adventure, which could be, their own life adventure. It doesn't have to be something physically strong. It could be just, getting the most of life, really.
True. And now, how do we get our hands on the book? Is it an ebook? Is it in paperback? How do we get our hands?
It's going to be printed, hopefully. So the book is written, the layout is done. It's actually turned out quite well. It's now with a local editor. I wanted to first publish it in Qatar. It's going to be an Arabic version too, which was very, very dear to me. So I wrote it in English, obviously. But so we may have to wait a little for the Arabic version to be ready, because I don't want just to throw the English version without the Arabic. I think it's very important for me to reach the Arabic speaking community. In the same way that, during my run around Qatar, I was live on media a lot, and I had someone that, God bless his soul, was translating every single one of my posts in Arabic. So I want to do the same thing. So hopefully, maybe next month, I will make some noise when the book is ready. Obviously,
I was just going to say that. Fantastic. I was going to say this is the right time to launch the book, but I don't know if it's right to have it in the year of culture, Qatar, France, for a Frenchman, for a Frenchman to publish a book in Arabic and in English, but not in French.
So yeah, you know what? I'll tell you something. The French version, I will actually do it too. I just wanted to make sure that we nailed the English version before I spend time translating the full book. It's 270 pages. So before I sit down and do a French version, which I also want to do, but in the end, it's all about Qatar, and it's a local launch. So it's fine. I'm French. I publish in Arabic. It's okay. It's still a bridge of culture. It's okay.
True. Keep me posted, because I'd love to be part of this, because I think I have 20 minutes of your trip, because I met you during that trip. I'd love to do that with you guys. Yeah.
Sure.
So it was. Any more questions from people I'd like to see? It was a pleasure to have you guys on board. I was trying to practice some French, but I couldn't, because you're saying you're going to publish a book in English, right? First, you want to nail the English, because in French, for welcome, it's bienvenue, right? For a female. And for the man, it's the same, it's a different spelling, but the same word pronunciation. So I was like, oh my God. So now I understand why you want to nail the English first and then go and tackle the French, although you're a Frenchman. So I can understand it completely. Yeah. So on a parting note, I'd like Fabien to say something to our guests, and we didn't delve into Fabien the person, actually. So if you can give us a small gist of Fabien, what made you come to Doha, and a little have you played, what level of football have you played, or any sport? I'd like to know more, because I know a lot about the Daniels. I just want to scratch in a little bit on you, if you could oblige.
I'm 37 years old. I've been playing football, but just for the fun. I've never been professional player or professional athlete. I'm not part of the Daniels family, definitely. And I came to Doha in 2017, but my first trip to Doha was in 2013. And from 2013 and 2017, I was going back and forth for a professional reason. And actually, it's a similar story with Pierre. Actually, the first time I came, I went back to the Paris office and I told them directly, if there is any project to open like an office in Qatar, I want to go. I'm in. That's the country where I want to live. So it was my first impression. And then the 3 years after that, I was going back and forth, and every time I was going back to the office in Paris, I was pushing. We need to open an office in Doha, and I want to be part of it. It was my main objective, because it's an amazing country to live, especially when you've got a family. It's the perfect country to raise children. It's very safe, good education, a lot of things to do, and definitely, I mean, I'm on that point, not from a sports perspective, but let's say from a lifestyle perspective, I'm like Pierre and Maud. I like to meet new people, and for me, it's one of the key point when you go live abroad. There is no point to stay only with your community. You need to discover, meet people, different cultures, and learn from others as well. And it's an amazing experience. So far, it's been amazing. I hope that I will be here for a few years again.
Yeah, excellent. I just want to touch on the art part. You collaborated with a good friend of mine, Ahmed Al Mahdi, last year with PSG, and you had an exhibition of his artwork. I mean, of course, I can definitely call him a good friend. Yeah, I know Ahmed Al Mahdi pretty well. The art.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I
Yeah,
mean, as I told you, it's part of it. It's not only because it's Ahmed and because it's Qatar. It's just because as PSG, we always want to think out of the box. And Ahmed was a good opportunity. He was willing to collaborate with PSG. He's the main artist in Qatar, so he did some very nice piece of art for Paris Saint-Germain. He's a really creative guy, and I'm sure that we will continue with Ahmed with new collaboration because once again, at the end of the day, is helping us to reach our objective, which is
yeah.
to position the club as a brand and dealing with different industries.
True, true. Thank you so much, Fabian. It was really nice to have you on board. And thank you, the Daniels, modest mod and very active Pierre. On a parting note, Mod, I really didn't nail your the new life coaching thing that you are doing. Can you give us your a little details about that, or just the website, so that I'd like to promote that a lot, because I'm all about life coaching on my virtual meetups. I'd like you to be a speaker again in the future when I'm having a life coach special, because every week from now on I'll have 4 topics. Inshallah, I'll do a Qatar France every month. Yeah, depending. I mean, in fact, next month I'm already launching a one with French artists, wonderful French artists residing in Qatar. They will be speaking along with a Qatari artist of next month, maybe on the 25th of August. And then I do a life coaching one. I do one on sustainability, and I always do something on sports. So I'm going to break the Daniels a bit one day and get Pierre separately with Bu Hashim and another cyclist, maybe Jaber. Jaber is a nice guy, Mo's buddy. He's a good cyclist. He cycles every morning or every weekend. So we'll do that. Yeah. So Maud, if you can give us a little website.
This is a really good idea to create a little coaching community over here in Qatar, because I think there is a first of all, everybody needs a bit of coaching. Athletes need coaching, politicians need coaching, business owners need coaching, and people need coaching for their life guidance, or sometimes they are in doubt, and especially when the time is difficult, like nowadays. I think we could be here to help and support and listen and guide towards a better version of themselves, and at least brighten their day. So yeah, I think it's a really, really good idea.
Very true. Very true. So
I just wanted to say that this year has been a very special year for us, because, as you said earlier on, Qatar is celebrating global culture since 2012, and this year they're celebrating France. So 2020 was filled with art exhibition, event, concerts, catwalks, etc. in Paris and in Doha. But of course, it's been jeopardized by the global pandemic. But I would just wanted to say thank you, because you have managed to get us together on the French National Day, and thank you for this.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, really. But as I said before, you all were my number 1 choice to have on board, because I wanted to show a French family living in Qatar how they are showcasing their life, and you've done it perfectly, because
Daniel's
you guys.
family.
Pardon me.
I just
Inspiring.
said the Daniels family. I love this name. You need to start a show, a TV show, a TV show, the Daniels family.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we should. Yeah. Let's talk about this off air at some point. Yeah. Let's do that, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, go
Yeah.
on, go on.
Could you all say goodbye in French to all the viewers, and then I'll say merci. and I'd like you all to say, because we have the French embassy
revoir.
also listening to us, and I promised them I'll say a few words in French.
Mhm.
Can you say that
Au revoir,
again,
à
please?
bientôt. Au revoir.
Okay.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Yeah.
Bonne soirée.
Yeah.
À bientôt.
Yeah.
Bonne soirée. Merci d'avoir écouté.
Shukran jaziran. Yeah. Ma salama.
Mas
Au revoir. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.